If I didn't have social media, I wouldn't be able to get the word out. I probably wouldn't be standing here, right? I probably wouldn't be standing here. Right? If I don't have social media, I probably would not be standing. And do you ever notice when I go on and I'll put like out a tweet or a couple of tweets, he's in a Twitter storm again. I don't do Twitter storms.
It's according to him. Donald Trump doubling down on his use of Twitter while speaking in Arizona Tuesday. Now, in a new poll, as we were talking about, a majority of voters want the president to stop tweeting from that personal account, and that's not the only issue voters have with the president, according to the Quinnipiac poll. Our panel is back. We were talking about it just a little bit ago, and these really are on moral questions. I mean, let's bring up some of those polling results. Uniting the country, only 31% say yes, 62% say no. Moral leadership, 35% say yes, 62% say no. Honesty, 36, only little bit more than 1 in 3 people in this country think the president is honest. Leadership skills, only slightly better at 37%. I mean, these are startling numbers by any measure. Andre, in terms of a president, I think you would tell me that the president doesn't care about that poll and thinks that the poll's wrong.
Well, a couple of things. Number one, the polls probably are wrong. It's hard to figure out, which poll is right anymore, and are they really polling voters or people that just happen to answer the phone? A lot of questions out there. Same polls that said he couldn't get elected, but say the polls are right. He doesn't need to focus on those. What he needs to focus on is what got him elected, and that was talking about leadership and issues. Look, his election's better than 3 years away. Midterm elections are next year. You get tax reform done, you get money in people's pockets, you get people employed, you get a health care bill eventually passed, you get substantive things done, and people, it's really not going to matter. At the end of the day, there's about 5 states that are going to elect the next president of the United States. And so when you're making clean coal come back and you're creating those jobs, you're going to win those states.
So, Craig,
to focus on.
So
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, I'm just going to go to Craig here for a second, though. So, Craig, if we listen to what Andre's saying, though, that means that Americans don't care that the president's a liar at all.
No, I think here's why those polls should be paid attention to. First of all, in the election, about 60% of the eligible voters voted. Trump got, let's say, half. That's 30%. And what these polls suggest, and other polls have suggested the same, is that he is not growing from that base. And that sends shockwaves through people, all 435 members of the House and a third of the Senate, who have to run for re-election next year. If they don't see him helping them, it's going to be harder to move his agenda forward. And right now, he does not have the kind of governing majority he needs to push some very tough issues in this legislative agenda ahead of him.
And, Angela, that might be true, but when you see poll numbers like that, doesn't it scare you that the Democrats, again, might be lulled into thinking that that means he can't win, won't win?
No, I don't think that Democrats are thinking that way at all. I think that if nothing else taught us, it was certainly this election. I think that there are some other aspects of this poll, though, Paula, that we should be paying attention to. American people have overwhelmingly said that Donald Trump is erratic. That is, I think, yet again, a good reason for this Congress to ensure that there is legislation passed to ensure that any candidate running for president, including the sitting president, has to pass some type of psychological evaluation, I think, just as a baseline. In addition to that, there's another number that was very alarming to me personally as a black woman in this country, and that is that only 3% of the people polled thought that Donald Trump has done anything actively to combat white supremacy. I think that is also a major problem and a huge flag, not only for Republicans, but it should be one for Democrats as well. There's a lot of bridges needed to heal the divides in this country.
Now, this next retweet from the president isn't going to do him any favors in that regard. He retweeted, some people would have thought it was funny, perhaps, but it is a tweet of him eclipsing the president. Again, it's the past president. Again, it is a retweet, the best eclipse ever, as you can see there. It's been pointed out that the person who originally tweeted that has been known for anti-Semitic slurs. Patrick, where do you go with something like this? I mean, I know that the Americans do appreciate sometimes that the president might have a sense of humor, but where do you put that?
This isn't so much sense of humor. I mean, this is the real Donald Trump. I mean, as his Twitter handle says, He was the leader, for years of what was, a deeply offensive, even racist campaign questioning the president's birth, citizenship, legitimacy. There was just dog whistles up and down that campaign, and he led it for years, even when other Republicans were telling him, this is, a terrible thing for you to be doing, this is not helping the party, this is not doing anything for our agenda. He kept at it. It's just so strange, Paula. It goes to what he is like as a person. Basically, when he feels like he's being respected or you're being nice to him, as when President Obama had him into the Oval Office right after the election. And Donald Trump then said lots of nice things. When he felt like Hillary Clinton was, giving him some credit for something, he'd be like a little bit warmer. When John McCain was coming back to Washington to vote on health care, suddenly it was thumbs up on John McCain. But then when he feels like someone is sort of going against him or he needs to have a foil in some kind of argument, he just goes at them with sometimes these very kind of nasty things, like this tweet.
Andre, what did you think when you saw that tweet?
Yeah, I actually didn't see the tweet, but again, I think that people are continuing to try to take some small, insignificant thing and make it a big thing. And going back to your last topic, I give you this poll. All the special elections we've had since he got elected, the Republicans have won. Look at the fundraising numbers. I mean, you can take any poll you want in life, and it's not working for the Democrats. They can say all this stuff they want. They can continue to pound all these negative messages, but at the end of the day, the results are there. And whether you look at fundraising, whether you look at elections, they are still losing.
Angela, I'll let you respond to that before we have to go here.
Sure, just quickly, that's not a poll, but Andre, I give you that there are definitely results. The Democrats have some soul searching to do, but I think bigger than that, the most important soul searching that needs to happen is what's happening in this country, and that begins with the moral leadership that is substantially lacking with the current commander-in-chief.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that poll, as you said, there's a lot of work to be done, and he's got a lot of room to grow in that department. Thank you all.